I'm joined now, as you mentioned earlier, by Martin O'Donnell, the Colonel here, who is spokesperson for the Supreme Allied Commander of European Forces. Good morning, Colonel O'Donnell. Can you tell us what you've been told 4 days on from that decision last week?
Yeah, so first, thanks for having me. Great to be with you. So things still stand, as the NATO spokesperson said in her statement over the weekend. NATO is still working with the United States to understand the implications of the decision made on Friday. And so, as you had already mentioned, 6 to 12 months. All those things still being under consideration. I would provide a few things for context, though. One, on the same day that the U.S. decided and made the announcement that it would reduce troops, it was actually, in fact, a brigade-sized unit, so we're talking thousands of troops, American troops, cased its colors to deploy here to Europe, an armored brigade from Texas on that same day. And so what I would offer to your viewers is that this type of rotation of forces moving in, forces moving out of theater, very, very common, something we're very, very used to.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, we know that European allies have been bracing themselves for a troop cut of this nature at some point. But the problem here is that it came out of the blue in the middle of a feud without any consultation with NATO allies. And that's something that many NATO diplomats have said to me over the past year or so would be kind of the worst nightmare, that Donald Trump would announce it after being on a phone call with President Putin of Russia, and that it will be done without the consultation with his allies. And that's kind of what's happened.
Yeah, well, I would say a few things. One, you heard from Germany's leader himself, who said he wasn't surprised by the decision. And Europe has been moving out, trying to strengthen up, make a stronger Europe, make a stronger NATO for some time. In addition, the United States has said, look, this isn't happening overnight. This will occur over a 6 to 12 month period. And those details, like I said, are still being worked.
And how come they're only being worked out right now? Because it's 4 days since the announcement. And so it appears that the strategy is sort of on short supply.
Well, so the president made a decision, right? And now on the United States side, just like any leader of any country would. And so now, obviously, the United States is working to determine how to execute the president's decision.
And how come there hasn't been any more detail so far about where it could sort of impact NATO force posture?
Yeah, so I think that's a question better for the United States to answer, just in terms of, okay, where are they at? From a NATO perspective, in terms of our deterrence and defensive plans, this doesn't change anything. We're still able, we will still be able to now, we are able now, and we will still be able to deter and defend all alliance territory.
OK, so let's look at the morale element, because obviously the last few months have been very confrontational when it comes to the United States and NATO allies in particular. Obviously, we saw at Greenland that really, really difficult sort of conflict between the United States, Denmark and other, in particular, Nordic allies. And then you have this decision to withdraw troops, and you have this constant sort of barracking from the US president about NATO allies not joining in the war in Iran. What does it mean for the overall alliance?
Yeah, so, one cannot escape the news. But I think what all of the countries within NATO, all 32 countries, need to understand is the military members, who I represent within the alliance, we are focused on our mission, which is deterring and defending. And so I would offer a couple things, on that note. One, you mentioned Greenland. There's thousands of troops right now in Greenland, soon to be in Sweden, in the Arctic, who are exercising under Arctic Sentry, 2 separate exercises. We, Supreme Headquarters Allied Power Europe, are starting today a command post exercise, Steadfast Deterrence. And so those are the types of things that we're focused on. Our aircraft are defending as part of Eastern Sentry. Our ships are defending as part of Baltic Sentry. Those are the types of things that, as military members, we are focused on.
OK, Colonel Martin O'Donnell, thank you very much for joining us here at NATO headquarters. Back to you, Marit.